Today we're tying one of the most versatile fly patterns in my box. This is a size 14 soft hackle pheasant tail, and I'm tying this on a Fulling Mill 5045 jig style hook. And this is a 1/8 copper bead, slotted tungsten. And overall, I think this is probably the size that I use the most as well. I'm using 8/0 thread, red on that hook. And I'm taking that about in line with where the barb would be if the hook was barbed. For the tail, I'm using Pheasant Tail, and I'm just lifting off here about 4 or 5 fibers. If you pull them straight up perpendicular to the stem of the feather there, you'll see that the tips kind of naturally align. Grab those in a bunch and pull them all off in one tear, and you end up with a bunch of fibers that are already pretty much aligned. And I'm going to tie those in so they're about 1 hook gap in length. You can take it all the way up to the bead. For the rib, I'm using copper ultra wire. This is the small size. I'm going to tie in that copper wire for the ribbing. For the body, I'm going to use another little clump of pheasant tail. I'm just going to pull off 6 or 8 fibers, again like I did with the tail. Lift them straight up perpendicular to the stem and then pull them all off at one time. And you'll see that that leaves us with a bunch of tips that are already aligned. I'm going to tie those in. I'm going to tie those fibers in by the tips. And then using touching wraps all the way up to the bead. And then we'll counter wrap over top of those with the ribbing wire. One of the reasons I like using the ultra wire is it is so easy to break off. I most of the time don't even have to use my scissors, so it saves my scissors adds some extra life there. I don't have to use it to cut the wire. For the hackle, I'm using just some hen saddle hackle, and I'm going to use some from down in here that has a little bit more pattern to it on the feathers. That'll really show through in our finished fly and just give it a little bit more life. After I've selected what feather I want there, you can see it has just a little bit more color variation within it. I'll pull back and trim off what I don't need. That little triangle there is my tie-in point to capture with the thread, and I'm just going to make a couple wraps, stroking the fibers backwards as I do. And this, hackle is just such high quality hackle. Whether you're using whiting or Mets, there's just so many fibers on each stem that you really only have to take 1 or 2 wraps and you're there. You're exactly, where you need to be. You get a nice full hackle with not much effort there. For the collar, I'm using Ice Dub Peacock Eye. And I'm just gonna make 2-3 turns or so. Pull out any extra strays. And I'm going to create a small thread collar, just a little hot spot with my thread. Whip finish, and I'm done. I tie this pattern a lot of times in sizes 12 down to 18. The nice thing about the pheasant tail is that it can represent so many different insects that, as long as you have a good variety of pheasant tails in your box, whether it's the old traditional pheasant tail nymph, a soft hackle, a Euro nymph version such as this, chances are you're probably going to catch fish. And this one has worked really well for me. I know it's going to work well for you. Thanks for watching.